Welcome to Virtual Strategy Magazine. I'm Carol Roy, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Joe Schwartz, CMO at DataSynapse. Joe, thanks for joining us today.
It is my pleasure, Carol.
Joe, let's start off. Give us a little bit of history about DataSynapse.
Great. So DataSynapse is a leader in dynamic application service management for the always-on, always-responsive data center. Carol, we began our journey back in the year 2000, and since then, Fortune 1000 companies have us deployed in literally thousands of sites, and our infrastructure software, which helps them manage and scale and optimize their applications, is running on literally over 1 million CPUs. So we're very widely deployed, and what we've seen recently is a move toward a next-generation data center model, which fits very, very well with both our current capabilities and the vision for where we want to take our customers.
Let's talk a little bit about the challenges that today's IT and data center managers are facing.
Yeah. You know, it's one of these double binds of do more with less. When we look at the trends toward capital and operating expenditure around the data center within large organizations, those costs are an increasingly greater percentage of their overall operating costs. In fact, it gets reflected on the bottom line. And some of us have seen studies, and I've heard firsthand from customers that utilization is a big issue. Data centers, according to one study I recently looked at, are only about 50% utilized. And servers in particular, which is where core applications, of course, run in the data center, are still only about 15 to 20% utilized. So there's a real issue around optimizing utilization. That's one issue. If you go back, 10 or 15 years ago when we had mainframes largely, mainframes ran at about 80% utilization. So there's been a big change. That's got huge impact on the bottom line. And then the other side of the coin is, how do we get agile? How do we become the next Google? How do we deliver IT as a service to our business customers and meet the demands of the business in real time? Meet the demands for change, for managing risk. So there's a lot of pressure on data centers to perform and to do so in a much more efficient way than they're doing currently.
How does the Next Generation Data Center initiative help them address these problems?
Great question. I think that Next Generation Data Center, and from what we've seen, is a bit of a catch-all. People talk about things like cloud computing. They talk about things like utility computing. The Next Generation Data Center, to us, Carol, is all about getting modular, getting efficient, reducing the footprint where it's possible to reduce the footprint, but really doing a much better job of capacity planning, asset management, and meeting the demands of the business, again, while driving efficiency through capital and operating expense.
How does DataSynapse help them contribute to that process?
Well, what we're doing at DataSynapse is a sometimes underserved part of the picture in the planning for next generation data centers, and it's really focusing on the application layer. So, Carol, obviously there are a lot of moving parts in a data center. When you look at what some people call the stack, you've got your network infrastructure. Aside from the physical hardware and the facility and the building and the power and the cooling, you've got your network infrastructure, your server infrastructure, compute resources. There's a lot of focus on virtualizing server resources, on managing network resources more efficiently. What DataSynapse is about is helping people to both understand, manage, and optimize those critical applications that, for all intents and purposes, are the reason that the data center exists. Without applications, the data center would be very quiet. So what we're doing is we are changing the game for customers and giving them business and IT transparency. We're allowing them to drive the execution of their critical applications to meet the demand of the business. And by doing that, we can reduce the amount of resources that are needed to support those applications, not just physical server resources, but also labor. So it's a very compelling value proposition when you think about it. We call that dynamic application service management.
Now, every company is different in their goals as well as their needs when it comes to IT. What do you see companies looking for, and what are the benefits for this new way of thinking about data center management for consolidation?
Well, we're very connected to the people in companies who own the problem of data center management. And if you sort of look at who those people are organizationally, clearly there's a C-level or CIO mandate around data center operational efficiency, modernization. But then there are the teams of people that manage the infrastructure. There are the customers of the data center, which are application teams that are building new application services, new products that need to be deployed into the data center. And of course, there's the business, which writes the checks. And we try to address all of those audiences with capabilities that drive, again, a much more agile way of bringing application services to market and deploying them into the data center and then managing and optimizing them. And that meets the needs of our customers, because that is a pain.
How does DataSynapse address and manage this new platform?
Well, getting technical, but that's okay. This is about technology. We have a platform, and it's an integrated set of products and capabilities. We provide tools. We also provide a runtime infrastructure that allows IT to effectively manage the full process or automate the process from the time an application goes through development and test and then gets deployed and provisioned onto servers in the data center, activated to begin to serve the business, and then managed and optimized through the life cycle of that application as it's running in the data center. And we call that our Dynamic Application Service Management Platform. It's really based on the proven technology that I talked about earlier that we've built out with many, many customers over the last 7 or 8 years. And we've got some new capabilities that we've added over the last, let's say 24 months that have been able to address more complex application systems. So whether you're running web systems that are based on a JEE framework, or whether you're running really middleware-intensive operational systems such as business intelligence, data integration applications, we can take any of those applications, any of those application platforms, could be WebSphere, could be JBoss, could be Oracle WebLogic, and we can manage those in our environment dynamically and allow them to scale dynamically based on demand. We've got some great stories with customers that have been able to reduce their data center footprints, gain agility in terms of rapid delivery of applications, because we automate really the provisioning of applications and complex applications, as well as overall just great business results by being able to drive new services to the business more rapidly.
The next one's a question we try to ask everybody that we interview. We want you to tap into your inner psychic and look forward. What do you see in the future of the virtualization industry as a whole?
Let me check my crystal ball. I keep it in my left,
Magic 8
my
balls.
left pocket here. Well, I think virtualization, Carol, is a catch-all phrase, much the way next generation data center is. And so, but there are a specific set of technologies around virtualization. And what we see and what we think customers and organizations are asking for is a more managed virtual infrastructure. So today, people have done a great job of virtualizing server resources. We're beginning to see a lot of the same sort of capability being brought to desktop. Desktop virtualization is a very hot topic. But if you think about it, there's an entire computing stack, network and storage stack, that together delivers IT services. And so first you need to virtualize that entire stack. So you're going to see more virtualization being done at the network and the storage layer. Then you're going to say, well, okay, now I've virtualized my infrastructure. How do I manage that? Because virtualization does introduce another layer. It introduces, as one infrastructure person recently said to me, more moving parts into the environment that need to be managed. So there's a big push to streamline the management of virtualization. And I think that's going to take another 18 to 24 months. DataSynapse, by the way, is very much a part of helping people to manage their virtual application infrastructure. So we're part of that push as well. And then I think eventually what the goal is to be able to have what I call the logical data center. We have one company that we're working with that's got 275 physical data centers all over the world. And their objective is to have a single logical data center that can be managed centrally. And what that gives them is the ability to move resources to whatever physical location they need to be moved to serve a business requirement, an application requirement, or transaction requirement in real time. That is truly the vision of virtualization, if you think about it. So I think that's really what the future is for people who are trying to leverage the technology.
And finally, Joe, where can our viewers go to learn more information about DataSynapse and its offerings?
That is a great question. So I'll, without being too commercial, what we've done is we've put up a website that's dedicated to informing, educating, and assisting people in learning more, not just about what we're doing, but what the challenges are in general of the next generation data center. And you can go to that website at www.ngdc-datasynapse.com.
Joe, thank you very much for being here with us today. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure, Carol. Thank you.